which according to Sky Vectors is pretty clear right now. Just need to update a couple things on my little notepad here, and then we'll get going with the flight. In Nashville, again, clear skies, calm winds, calmer than Peoria. I'm gonna runway 02 still. Okay. They will probably give me 02 left. We are also running Skyforce 3D. I mean, if we see any clouds, those are going to be from Skyforce 3D. I did kind of mention before, I have practiced this flight prior to this here, so going up 22,000 feet. We will have a slight bit of a headwind, but that's okay. We got the planned fuel for it. When I did the practice flight, actually the headwind hit, the quartering headwind, it hit like 108 knots, I think. Almost direct headwind, so we were battling. We're going to be Delta 1492. Here's our lovely CRJ. It's going to be great to fly this beast. It's going to be great. So when I fly like big airlines, or if I'm flying like super high altitudes, I usually turn my auto gen down a little bit because there's no need for it. I'm not really, like, I'm paying attention to what's up high with me, not necessarily what's down low on flights like this. But when we hop into my Cessna or my Mooney, or actually I got a couple Cessnas, a Mooney, I got a Beach. Actually, it's a Piper. I'm sorry. It's Piper Seneca 5. I got all kinds of aircraft. You guys will see. But for now, it's CRJ. Those are graphics settings as well. I'm going to start this flight 6:15, even though it's 5:22. And, yeah, let's load in. You guys may hear me mute and unmute my mic, some little voice. I don't know if you guys can hear this.
Mic off. Mic on.
I don't know if she said mic off and mic on there, but if you hear that, just know I just muted my mic for a moment, so no worries. The girlfriend might have just got home, or I'm coughing because I got a mild cold or something. Just don't worry about it. I will be back very, very shortly if you hear that. As soon as we load in here, she's about there.
Mic off. Mic off. Mic on.
All right, everybody. The first thing I need to do is connect the ground power. As you can hear, ground power has now been activated. Circuit breakers are not modeled in this aircraft, so we're just going to assume they're all closed. We're not really going to mess with it. NW or nose wheel steering, that's right here. It's now in the off position. Our hydraulic pumps, which are right here, are in the off position. Landing gear lever, excuse me. Landing gear lever, flight spoiler lever, slats, flaps, lever, set actual position. So, if I can press the right button, it's this one. We can see those are 0, that's up. Everything's good to go there. Radar in the off position. Radar's right here. And it is off. ADG manual release. Emergency flaps stowed and normal. Again, that's down here. They're right down here. I think my voice just cracked. Hot damn. They're right down here. And they are stowed and normal. The APU will start up right before engine start because we'll use the APU basically for engine start after we push back. Fuel is precious and we don't want to waste it. So that's that. The electronics, so we're going to get the electronics turned on, which is up here. We'll get the battery turned on and wait for the airplane to power up. And then we'll activate our AC ground power, just like that. And what we could do is pull this up, and if I take a peek right down here and look really close, because I'm only in 1080, we can see external AC has got voltage and disconnected, you'll notice that'll completely go away and won't even exist when I disconnect it. It's not even on the screen. So, back to Dave. The AHRS, IRS, NAG, and NAV. Don't worry about the AHRS. We're going to worry about the IRS, which is down here. NAV. That's going to start aligning our instruments. Emergency equipment, gear and safety pins. Airplane documents are all on board. Checked. Hydraulic 3A is this guy. Turn it on. And then we need to initialize the FMS. So if we look down here and pull this up, this is where I'm going to talk about the flight plan. So basically, the first thing we want to do is check the status. Excellent. And then we want position initialization. We want an originating airport. We got to tell it where we're starting. For me, I'm starting KPIA. For this flight, we can copy this by clicking on that hotkey and then setting it down there. And that's all you need to do on this page. Next, we're going to go to the flight plan. This is where we're actually going to put in our waypoints and such. So the origin airport, again, KPIA, Kilo, as soon as I can find it. Kilo, Papa, India, Alpha. Origin, we're going to Kilo, Bravo, November, Alpha, or Nashville, Tennessee. We don't have an alternate. I know the weather's clear, so I didn't really plan for an alternate. And the first waypoint we're going to go to is actually, scratch that. It's SPI. Depending on the ARIC cycle you have will determine whether or not that is CAP or SPI, Springfield or Capital is what it stands for. But we need next page for the flight plan. We're flying direct to SPI. And then we're going to intercept Victor 67. We're going to take that to Echo November Lima. Then Victor 4 to Papa X-Ray Victor. Victor 52 to Bravo Whiskey Golf. And then click next page again. Finally, Victor 49 to the intersection Tans. Execute. Performance initialization. Cruise altitude 22,000 feet. Excellent. Excuse me. Now we need to get rid of that for just a moment. We need to come here, click the home screen. We need to get our fuel and payload in for the flight. So we're going to be carrying 80 passengers. 80 passengers. I'm looking for a zero fuel weight of 66,715. $717 is close enough, so we'll take it. We need 8,315 pounds of fuel. Whoops. 8,000. set the fuel and payload, and then we're going to copy the data to performance initialization, or to perf int, if that's what you want to call it. I'm going to load back up my checklist so that it's ready for us when we come back. We're going to go back here, and we can see all of our data is in. So that's good. On the VNav, really, we just need to confirm that these are essentially proper for the area we're flying in, really. And that's that. I like to monitor the progress page there. I like to just keep that up. What's really cool is if we click this, it'll actually bring it up right there, so we'll keep that in mind for shortly after takeoff here. Back to Dave. Internal and external pre-flights are good. Harness, pedals, seats, all adjusted. Oxygen. It's right down here. Listen for it carefully. Alright, we got the audible test there, so that's good. Electrical power panel checked. Up here, everything is good to go there. Audio warning panel we'll check in a moment. Fire detection or Firex monitor test complete. So basically what we need to do is load up this, look up here, press that, fire system, okay. Quickly look down here, the fire lights were on, so that's good. Back to Dave. External lights, fuel panel, bleed air panel checked. So those are all on the overhead panel. So the external lights, we're going to go ahead and get the navigation lights, the beacon lights, and the logo lights on. So we can see those lights on there. Fancy logo light up here. Nav lights, beacon lights. Oops, bleed air panel. We're going to turn this to APU because we're going to start the APU and we'll want the bleed source to come from there. Can't turn those on until the APU is running. APU panel as required, start panel, hydraulic panel. Emergency lights. Armed. Cabin pressurization. Full decrease. Air conditioning panel I just tried to do. We'll go ahead and start the APU now. Actually, first let's wait till that aligns. We'll contact ATIS. There's our instruments. We saw them just come alive there. I'm going to quit these flashing lights. I just set the altimeters. Let's gather our IFR clearance. start the APU panel after this checklist. We'll go to the APU panel and we'll start that after this checklist. We need to do cabin pressure panel, air conditioning panel. I just checked. We'll have to go back to that. The ice test. Really quick. It says ice. That'll go away in just a second. Press that. ADS heat test. Okay. Press it again. It goes bye-bye. This ice annunciator warning right there, I think maybe a bug or it just needs to get the engine started. One of the two, because it's always on prior to starting. Didn't mean to do that. Windshields I just turned on low. Emergency lights are armed. Standby compass is right here. And I'll be damned, it's reading the same heading. Nose wheel steering is still off. Clocks are set. Instrument panels are set. Anti-skid test. Main landing gear bay overheat test. We will do. We'll double check everything up to avionics after the main landing gear test. So let's go down here.
Gear bay overheat.
Fantastic. That's just a warning, so it should only beep. Great. While we're down here, we'll check the lamps. Ensure all the lights are on. Excellent. There's a second set of lamps in each switch, so we want to make sure they all come on too. Good. Bring that up a notch. Excellent. Alright. Yaw dampener. We want to ensure that that is extinguished. I do not see a yaw damper in there. Source panel is on normal. Okay, lower pedestal we just checked. We'll double check it again. Parking brake is set. Good, good, good. Alright, what we need to do is pull up this and look up here. On power and fuel first. Doors open. Started. We're going to wait for it to spool up. This generator's set to auto over here. We're going to turn the other two generators to auto now because engine start will be very shortly. So now that it's spooled up at 100% RPM, we're going to kill that. We're going to go visit Dave again. Ground services. Kill the ground power generators. That's going to be a little quieter. Although we are going to have the hum of the APU now. So back to Dave in our checklist. Got the yaw dampeners on. Trims. So we want to go into the V speeds here. We're going to take off flaps 8. We're going to set takeoff. We're going to set V1, VR, V2, VFTO, and V2 plus 10. Now Dave did all of that for us because Dave is really handy, so we didn't have to go through and manually do all of that. We can see that it is all set right here for us, nice and lovely. And the speed bug has been set to V2 plus 10. That's the speed we're going to climb out at. So now that I have those set, I can hit speed hold, and we're going to climb at 172 knots up to 14,000 feet, and we're going to hold runway heading, which would be 22. until they tell us to turn or otherwise. So back to Dave and our checklists. That checklist is done. So before start, passenger signs on, landing elevation is set automatically. Altimeters we set. FMS IRS is set. Radios and nav aids are set for departure. And then our takeoff briefing. So let's turn the signs from off to on. Excellent. Okay, cleared to start. Here's where we want to do a quick check of our surroundings. Just real fast. Give a little bit of a pushback here. Before anybody says anything, the parking brake is disengaged. It's down here. And while I'm peeking down here, I'm going to turn on my other trims. We're going to back up just till we get to nose beyond this road here. That's like a aircraft service vehicle area. That's where they drive. So we're going to get clear of that. And then have him stop us. Excellent. Want to look down here, re-engage the parking brake before engine start. After his call, we'll request taxi.
Peoria ground, Delta 14902 with Sierra, ready to taxi IFR. Delta 14902, taxi to and home short of runway 22, using taxiway Bravo Bravo Alpha Alpha 1. Contact tower on 149.1 when ready. Taxi to and hold short runway 22, using taxiway Bravo Bravo Alpha Alpha 1. Delta 14902.
Alright, so now that we've been cleared to start our engines, we're going to pull this up. We're going to take a quick peek up here. Start the left engine first. Take a quick peek down here and monitor for into 20%. And then we'll add fuel. There's the fuel. And I give it just a little rock with my joystick throttle to ensure it's all the way idle. Peek back up here. Now that engine 1 is stable, we'll go ahead and start engine 2 so it's now spooling. Oil pressure's rising, and 1's rising, and 2's rising. Again, around 20%. We'll add the fuel. I'd like to rock the joystick again just for joystick throttles, just to ensure they're both at idle. And we'll ensure that engine stabilizes before we quit monitoring this. And it looks like it's a pretty stable engine, reading identical numbers. Peak down here, set flaps 8. Like we told Dave we were going to take off with flaps set 8. Now just so I ensure we have clearance from him, we're going to spin off to the left here. And, yeah. I hope this guy doesn't hit me. Okay, perfect. You see why we cleared that pathway? Looks like he's gonna get some fuel or something. Who knows? Who knows? Pull this up, peek up here. We're gonna shut the APU down now since we don't need it. Bleed source on both engines, since both engines are now running and stabilized. We're gonna monitor this until the APU spools down all the way. And I'm gonna turn my taxi lights on to let them know we're getting ready to taxi. So now that that's spooled down, we press this again, the APU door will close. Just press the brakes to disengage the parking brake, and we're gonna throttle up here nice and easy, not too much throttle. Correction, we're gonna confirm our checklist. Hydraulic pumps all need to be on auto or on. Engines are started. Cross-feed check valve. This is all automated up here. That's all where this is. Cross-feed, cross-flow, all that good stuff is all right there. It's all automated. You usually don't have to check it, but it is good to go through the notions. I'll confirm generator 1 and 2 are on, and they are. The APU has now been shut off. Since the engines are started, we're going up to 22,000 feet. I turn the probes on, just to turn the probes on, just to make sure. Electrics, checked. Rudder, okay. Nose wheel steering, armed. When I did the test flight, I forgot to go through the after start check, and I didn't ever arm the nose wheel steering. And wondered why my aircraft wouldn't turn on the ground. Give a full left rudder to get this nose around. Very early morning, great weather flight into Nashville today. Another thing I like about this Aerosoft CRJ is that HUD. I can monitor my taxi speed right there with the ground speed indication right on the HUD. When it's not glaring in the sun, that is. Flaps, slats, and flight controls checked. Let's open that up. Take a real quick peek down here. We're looking for flight controls. Flaps are set to 8, slats are set to 20, which is what they should be. So set and indicated, that's good. If we move the aileron, we can see on the flight controls tab as well as the elevator that all the flight controls are working good.
Captain, the cabin is secure. All passengers are aboard.
Thank you, miss. We're getting ready for takeoff. Please inform the passengers.
Mic off. Mic on.
Man, there's like some loud banging going on around here. That's weird. I'm super sorry about that slight delay. Let's get on with it. Interesting. Very interesting. See our takeoff config is okay, seatbelt signs are on, no smoking's on. We've got our autopilot set. I'm going to gently apply a little bit of braking to slow us down to butter crawl. There we go. A little bit of thrust to make sure we don't stop.
Peoria, current delivery, loading November 4,
Approaching.
46,
2, 2.
ready to copy. Loading November 42460 is clear to the mount.
Let's go ahead and contact tower, request takeoff.
1492, ready to go. Runway 22, IFR, Nashville. Delta 1492, clear for takeoff. Runway 22.
Looking at the displays real quick, just giving them a quick check over to make sure nothing's out of the ordinary, nothing's red, there's no CAS messages, brake temps are fine. Everything looks good. Everything looks good. Flight instruments are good. FMS is set to auto-tune by default. Alright. Let's get this bird in the air. Clear left. Clear right.
On runway. 2, 2.
Okay. So VR is 153. Gonna apply the brakes, full brakes. Before takeoff, I need the landing lights and strobe lights on. Ignition, anti-ice is good. Fuel flow cross feed, we'll double check. It's good. Radar, we don't need. CAS, we just checked, is good. And we'll take a peek at that during our climb check. What we need to do now is keep full brake. Give her a little bit of thrust, about 55% in one. Once you get there, smoothly advance the throttle there. Once you get to 55, there you go. Release the brakes. Advance to full. This little detent says max. At 153 knots, we'll rotate. I'm giving just a little bit of right rudder pressure. There's rotation. Let the nose come up. We're off the ground. We're going to tap the brakes and raise the gear. Got a positive rating indicating. raise the flaps.
Contact Peoria departure on 119.905. Point 119.905, Delta 1492. Peoria departure, Delta 1492, descent 2,400, climbing 14,000. Delta 1492, Peoria departure, roger, altimeter 3022. Delta 1492, turn left heading 185, resume on navigation, climb and maintain 14,000. Turn left heading 185, resume on navigation, climb and maintain 14,000. Delta 1492.
Alright, turn left to 185. I'm actually going to make it 180 for a moment. Keeping an eye on that speed, making sure it stays where we want it to. We got the thrust set in climb, so come down here, look. Oh, it's not in climb, it's in takeoff. Now we're in climb. Sometimes if like you set the throttles right in between a D10, it might bounce back and forth, so glad we double checked that. We were burning way too much fuel for this. Speaking of fuel, we got about 7,400 pounds left. Climb check. Leads at APU. All that stuff should be off. Alright, the next checklist we go through will be the in-range check. We're going to expect ILS 02 left on approach, and they're going to vector us in. What? Cancel? Cancel. Cancel that. I thought it wanted me to contact them. We're 1,000 feet away from 14,000 feet. Flight level 140. Let me put this away for now. We will need to throttle down as the aircraft levels off. 220.
Orbit 8122. Delta 1492, please expedite your climb to flight level check 0.
I'm climbing at almost 1,000 foot a minute, dude. Climb thrust is set. Again, she's going to hold us 172 knots all the way up. Once we're above 10,000 feet, we can definitely shut those off. Take a peek at the snowy floor. We should be seeing clear skies all the way there. Since this aircraft doesn't have a auto throttle, we will have to manage the throttles this whole flight. But for the most part, the systems in the aircraft will manage the aircraft for us. We'll just have to tell it, you know, what we want it to do or what we need it to do, and it'll do it for us. Once we pass 18,000 feet, I will change the barometers here to the standard pressure, and then on up to 22,000 and cruise speed we go. Gave myself a few hundred feet of play. I got Kat that wanted to come and say hello. Hi, Stevie. Hi. You just got home from the vet. Hi. Going to Chicago. As soon as they get done, what's up, Chicago? Delta 1492. We're with you. Here's our 1,000-foot alarm. 1,000 to go. So we're gonna keep the throttles at climb until we build a little bit of speed, and then we'll thrust back.
Mic off.
Alright, now that we're building a little bit of speed up, I'll go out of climb mode and into manual.
Mic off.
So I don't know if you noticed, I pressed nav hold once we got in a stable cruise to resume our own navigation like ATC had instructed us. So we're going to fly the route as filed. unless we receive ATC instruction otherwise. So, while we're up here at 22,000, I'll bring these instruments closer so you guys can see them. I don't know, what should we look at here? Great hydraulic pressure, good fuel. Looking pretty damn good. We got one heck of a, I don't know, would you call that a quartering tailwind? Not really, that's kind of like a crosswind, 60 knots. Goodness gracious. So I have digital copies of the documentation on all of my aircraft. So what I want to do here is reference some of that documentation real quick. Update the app before I can reference that. Let's look out a window though. Just a little bit more throttle. Just a little bit more.
Here we go.
I'm not sure I'm going to be able to hold Mach 0.74 like they want me to. I might be overspeed at this altitude. I guess we'll see. Current ground speed almost 500. So I referenced the manual just to confirm what the cruise was in this, and they want you to hold Mach 0.74. That's the cruise. Any kind of turbulence, we throttle down. And get the speed down, like right now. Indianapolis, here we come. Next nav 8 is 62 nautical miles away. I'm going to keep that up for now. I like having that information. That's a lot of useful information up here at cruise altitudes. Let's have a gander around the cockpit. Going to turn this guy on. This is Chase Plane, if anybody's not seen this UI before. This is what's been controlling my cameras the whole time. So if I come in here, I can actually just kind of scoot myself over. I'm going to scoot back. You see that hood? That hood effect is amazing. It's amazing. We can be the first officer. My first officer seat. I'll back this up here. I think that's too much. Yeah, I'm in the headrest at the moment. Go forward. Still in the headrest. Oh, just making a turn. Gotta love autopilot for situations like this. Say I want that as the first officer's seat. I can literally go first officer, save it, go back to pilot, and switch to first officer whenever I want. Just like that. It's cool. I don't want or need one, so I'm going to go ahead and remove that. Sometimes the autopilot does things that just make you go, did I set that right? Is this gonna crash into the ground? So far, so good. No, it's tracking the flight path. It's on nav hold, so it's following the magical line. Let's review the checklist real quick. As far as I know, we're not too far out. $130 miles. That's That's not too far out when you're doing 458, 59, almost 60 knots across the ground. Across the ground. Fuel. Let's check the fuel. What's up, fuel? We got 4,640 pounds left. Shit. We're gonna make it. Altimeters, well, we can't really set the altimeters just yet because we're not quite below 18,000 feet. TCAS radar terrain display as required, not required. CAS messages checked and cleared. Cleared. Checked and clear. We don't have to clear nothing. Wrong button. It's those nice little subtleties. At 14 on one engine, 15 on another, that lets you know you're in a proper paywear aircraft. Just kind of checking the whole lower pedestal there. Landing data. We're going to let Dave do this for us. We're going to set for landing. Set V2GA. VFTO. 139. We're going to put that in our fancy-dancy autopilot. 139. Knots. Yep, fantastic. We're going to leave it on this checklist for right now. Enjoy this Orbix landscape. Might do a live Cessna flight later tonight. A2A Cessna. Full cold and dark. Start up like we did at the start of this flight. I'll do a medium shutdown when we land and taxi in here, but it won't be a full cold and dark shutdown because most of the time an airline doesn't fully shut down, especially when this is the first flight of the morning for this little airplane. So we're not going to fully shut it down. We will start the APU and all that good stuff again, though, after we land. It'll be lovely.
Indianapolis Center, orbit 956, wind flight level 310. Orbit 956.
Must have got a gust of wind right there. And the autopilot was like, whoa, whoa, Nelly. Cut it out. Going to Memphis.
133.85 for Delta 1492.
My golf.
Memphis Center, Delta 1492, with you, flight level 220. Delta 1492, Memphis Center, roger.
go ahead and tune the nav here. 109.9 021. Got him. Whoops. Going straight down to 9,000. Since we are in descent, whoops, I'm going to turn the passenger signs on.
Mic off. Mic on.
Oh, we got a little pipe of Cherokee down there. Look, oh, how cute. We're going like 6 times his max speed. So far, everything's looking good. We're going to want HSI once we get clearance for the approach. But for now, we don't want HSI. We'll leave it on map for now.
Mic off.
Pacifica 1690, Memphis Center, Roger, altimeter 3029er. Delta 149er2, contact Memphis Center on 125.85. Delta 149er2, can you hear my last transmission? Pacifica 1690, climb to maintain 17,000. 125.85, Delta 149er2. Memphis Center, Delta 149er2, is at 12,400, 9,000. Delta 149er2, Memphis Center, Roger, altimeter 3030. Delta 149er2, turn left heading 190. Turn left heading 190, Delta 149er2. Delta 149er2, contact cancel approach on 118.1. 118.1 for Delta 149er2. Cancel approach, Delta 149er2 is at 11,100, descending 9,000. Delta 149er2, cancel approach, Roger, altimeter 3030.
Mic on.
Alright, we're a little less than 500 feet away from our assigned altitude here, coming in at Nashville. Coming into Nashville, not coming in at Nashville. I'm going to try to maintain about 240 knots at this state in the descent. Don't want to be too rough, too violent with the throttle adjustment though. What's up, Nashville?
Delta 149er2, Nashville approach, Roger, altimeter 3029.
3029er, huh? Sometimes I think default ATC just fucks with me. Bless you! You hypothetical pilot. approach briefing done. Altimeters are set. APU bleeds. Good to go there. Flight attendants. So we'll go through that on long final as we're intercepting the ILS.
Delta 1492, turn left heading 155.
Turning left to 155.
155, Delta 1492. Nashville departure, each November 5906, 7, effective type H bearing, 1 mile east of Nashville, 2400, request clearance to transition Charlie airspace. Each November 5906, 7, effective initial departure.
Getting ready to land in Nashville.
152. Block 2152, each 6, 7, effective. Delta 1492, turn right heading 185, each 6, 7, effective. Radar contact 5 miles east, initial 3000, clearance, Charlie airspace. Piper November 0348, hotel, initial approach, roger, altimeter 302, turn right heading 185, Delta 1492. Each 6, 7, effective. Traffic is 2 o'clock, 2 miles.
Starting to get a little bit of clouds here in Tennessee. At least we got a few in front of us anyway. I think we're below them. We'll find out when we get closer.
Nashville departure, Block A, November, Niner 1, Niner 54, descent 1,100, climbing 13,000. Block A, November, Niner 1, Niner 54, initial departure, roger, altimeter 302, Niner. Block A, Niner 54, turn right heading 045, Sierra course, climb and maintain 13,000. Turn right heading 045, proceed on course, climb and maintain 13,000. Block A, Niner 54.
The airplane set up to intercept the ILS.
Delta 1492, contact FMS center on 125.85. Going to 125.85, Delta 1492. Memphis Center, Delta 1492, with you. Delta 1492, Memphis Center, roger, altimeter
God.
302 east. Delta 1492, turn left heading 145, descend and maintain 3000. Turn left heading 145, descend and maintain 3000. Delta 1492.
230. Anything below 220, we can lower our landing gear. The aircraft slowed up to start bringing in the flaps. Off just a little bit here because I'm at idle thrust currently. I shouldn't say level off, I should say raise the nose. Alright, excellent. I've picked up the localizer. Fantastic. Yes! 1,000 feet from our altitude, or assigned altitude. We're getting ready to land. Once we drop below 230, I'll lower 3 notches of flaps, which should put us at 20 degrees. .20 flaps. We'll have to increase throttle. We're going to drop the gear. So we're in a halfway landing configuration at this point. With the added drag from the gear, we'll have to increase the throttles yet again. At this stage, we really just need to watch our speed. Make sure we don't overspeed with the flaps or gear down, or underspeed, stall, and hit the ground. Going splat with full load passengers might ruin a lot of people's days. Airport's off our nose to the left somewhere over here. I don't have a visual just yet. So far, everything's looking good.
Nashville approach, Delta 1492 with you. Delta 1492, Nashville approach, roger.
blast it.
5,700. Beach November 1771. Uniform Nashville approach. Roger. Altimeter 302. Turn left heading 050. Climate maintain 3000. Cleared ILS. Runway 2. Left approach. Maintain 3000. Until established. Tower on 118.6. Delta 1492. Nashville Tower, Delta 1492 is 23 miles south, inbound ILS, runway 2, left approach. Delta 1492, Nashville Tower, fly straight in, runway 2, left, altimeter 302. Make straight in, runway 2, left, Delta 1492.
I'm gonna wait till we get a little closer to the runway to lower the flaps the rest of the way. The aircraft turning like that is it picking up the ILS now from the runway, so it's gonna line itself up. So it's no longer on heading hold. It's not gonna track the heading. It's gonna track this green line right here. Confirm a couple of things. We got gear down and locked. Once we have a visual on the runway, we'll lower flaps to 45. Decreased our thrust a little bit here. That needle's come alive. It's starting to center up, which means the runway's going to be right in front of us. A little bit of turbulence. Confirm we got the seatbelt signs on manuals, so
Nashville Airport information, X-ray 13570, wind 063 and reach. Visibility.
lower flaps to 30. Nose is going to come down. Gonna have to increase thrust to keep the airspeed up. That scary approach moment. Scary approach moment. Alright, since we have a visual on the runway, I'm going to throttle down to about 150, lower flaps all the way, and we will await our landing clearance.
Nashville Tower, Bombardier, November 4202, Hotel, Midwest 1 miles south, inbound ILS, runway 2, right, approach. Bombardier, November 4202, Hotel, Nashville Tower, just flight straight in, runway 2, right, altimeter 3029. Fly straight in, runway 2, right, Bombardier, 02, Hotel.
We'll hold our 139.
Nashville Tower, Mooney, November 92425, ready for IFR departure, runway 2, right. Mooney, November 92425, cleared for takeoff, runway 2, right. Cleared for takeoff, runway 2, right. Mooney, November 92425.
So as the aircraft starts to descend, we'll have to decrease our thrust.
Nashville Tower, American Pacific 843, runway 2, right, ready for takeoff, IFR, Victor.
Thrust reversers armed. Slats and flaps set and indicated. Thrust reversers are armed. Slats and flaps are indicated.
Delta 1492, cleared to land, runway 2, left. American Pacific 8443, taxi position at hold. Nashville Airport information, Yankee 140. Position at hold, American Pacific 8443. Bombardier 02, Hotel, cleared to land, runway 2, right. Mooney 425, contact Nashville departure on 119.35. 119.35, Fort Mooney 425. American Pacific 8443, cleared for takeoff, runway 2, right. Cleared for takeoff, runway 2, right, American Pacific 8443.
Too high, too high.
Right, Bombardier, 02, Hotel.
Too high.
Approaching. 02, left.
American Pacific 8443, contact Nashville departure on 119.35. 119.35 with American Pacific 8443.
Disengage the autopilot and fly manual.
500. 400. 300.
200. Gears down and lock. Flaps are full.
200. 200.
Sync rate.
100.
Sync rate.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Engage thrust reverse. Speed brakes.
3,000 feet remaining. Two thousand feet remaining.
Delta 1492, turn next taxiway. 1492. Contact ground on 121.9er. 121.9er for Delta 1492.
Alright, we'll come to a stop right here. Taxi to the gates.
1492. Taxi to the gate. Delta 1492. Taxi to gate Alpha 5. Using taxiway Alpha Bravo Flight Tango 1. Taxi to gate Alpha 5. Using taxiway Alpha Bravo Flight Tango 1. Delta 1492. Nashville Ground. Bombardier November 4202 Hotel. Taxi to party. Bombardier November 4202 Hotel. Taxi to General Aviation Parking via taxiway Hotel 3 Hotel Lima 8 Lima 7. Taxi to General Aviation Parking via taxiway Hotel 3 Hotel Lima 8 Lima 7. Bombardier 02 Hotel.
Alright, let's get to the parking.
Approaching. 20. Right.
Looks like it's clear on approach. Clear down the runway, so. Alright, since I mentioned before, we're only doing a like a soft shutdown, if that's what you want to call it. So, I'm going to go ahead and get the APU powered. Doors open. We'll start it. Alright, we got our APU ready. So as soon as we shut down the engines, the APU will take over powering the aircraft. Almost to the gate here. Guys enjoyed the video, please give me a subscribe and a thumbs up, a like, whatever you want to call it. That support helps me out the most. We're pulling to this jetway here. Shut her down. In real life, somebody would be bringing me in, but that looks good right there. Let the parking brake home. Excellent. Both engines are shut down. Engines. Clear our warnings. APUs powering the aircraft. Let's confirm that. Yes, APUs powering the airplane. We'll leave it that way. That's about the extent of our shutdown procedure today, guys. Thanks for watching again. I hope you enjoyed. Subscribe, like. We'll see you next time.